On a cold and snowy day, soldiers in this forest are training for a potentially worst-case scenario, a Russian attack on Estonia. This is the Tapa military base, less than 70 miles from the Russian border. The Estonian military granted access to our camera crew to see these soldiers in action. Howitzer crew leader Martin Lasik says he's ready to defend his country.
I know I'm ready. I can't speak of the others, but I know that I would come and protect my country.
This base is home to NATO troops from Estonia, as well as almost 1,500 NATO soldiers from Great Britain, France, and Denmark. The United States has also deployed an infantry unit consisting of around 80 to 250 men. NATO has bulked up its presence in the Baltics since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, for fear that Vladimir Putin could try to reclaim small countries like Estonia that were once occupied by the former Soviet Union.
It comes back to the fact that Estonia set out the principle that we don't ever want to be alone again, compared to in year 39, when pretty much we were isolated, left between the bigger forces in geopolitics.
Those bigger forces? First, Soviet control, then occupation by German Nazis, then in 1944, re-invasion by the Soviet Union, the start of a half-century of Soviet rule. Now, 3 decades after becoming a free nation again, Estonians vow to protect their freedom. But the country has only about 40,000 soldiers, so membership in NATO provides powerful protection from Estonia's aggressive next-door neighbor.
Behind me, the border between Russia and Estonia divides a country at peace and a country at war. Formerly overrun by the USSR, this tiny but fiercely independent nation could be prone to attack next.
They understand that the war in Ukraine is about more than Ukraine. To Estonians, it's also about their own national defense. Estonia requires young men ages 18 to 27 to serve in the defense force for a minimum of 8 months. Orm Leopold Lucas, an 18-year-old student at the University of Tartu, recently started his service. He says many Estonians are worried about what could happen.
There's definitely a worry. Even in my class, I've seen that people worry. What saddens me is that a big amount of my friends and the classmates say, oh, when the Russian invades, I will flee from the country. So that's a little bit worrying for me. I definitely see that when the Russia invades, I'm definitely going to stay here. I'm going to protect my country because I love it.
Even some Russians living in Estonia say they would fight to help their new home country. Daniil Martikanen Yerlakovsky is one of them. Born and raised in Russia, he decided to leave 2 years ago. After his mother died, and with no family in Estonia, he still made the trek and is now going to school in Tartu. He says he's felt welcomed here, despite the deteriorating diplomatic relations between his old homeland and his new home.
I have to get this clear. There is not a single person in Estonia who treated me poorly or oppressed me in any way for where I'm from or for what language I speak as a native tongue or anything like that.
And he says if Russia invades, he'll fight for Estonia.
I would be happy to join some local militia and protect Estonia, obviously. This country has given me way more than I saw in Russia or ever could get there, as a person with my opinions, my values, my behavior.
But while Estonians prepare for the worst, defense officials also say Russia's army isn't nearly as strong as many feared when the Ukraine war began.
So we've seen that Russia is not some almighty Leviathan which cannot be defeated. We've seen that they are not that great on the battlefield, and the world's second army, as they proclaim to be, is definitely not the second army. Even in Ukraine, they're not the second best army there.
But while they may scoff at Russia's faltering military campaign in Ukraine, Estonians are not letting down their guard, not with their independence at stake. At the Tapa military base, I'm Carlos Garcia for the Center County Report.